G'day, guys. You are watching Sydney City Space Slugs streaming yet another round of the XTC. What we've got for you today is Nobbie on the red player side, fighting for Australia, up against András on the right side with the blue colour. And with me in the commentary box today is Cameron. How you going, Cameron?
I'm doing really well, Tom. I'm doing really, really well. Very excited for some Hungary, Australia combat. So I know that there are a few other games happening at the moment. I think maybe up to two other games happening at the same time.
Correct,
Um,
yep.
so ignoring those games, what's the standing between Australia and Hungary right now?
Currently, it is 0-2. Australia is down both games. So unfortunately, we had what you'd call a red matchup in our first round, and we also had to have a sub in for one of our players. So our normal first order player couldn't make it, and he was replaced by our sub, Brendan Morrissey. And unfortunately, he tried his best, but couldn't get the win. It was an expected result, though. As I said, it was a red match. And then just then, as of about 15 minutes ago, we had Michael Turner go down to our opponent's separatist squad to make it 0-2. So we're looking for some consecutive wins. As this is a triple header, it would be nice to go 3-0 and make it take back that lead.
Swing it back, yeah.
Yeah. What are you thinking about this one here specifically? Should we break down the squads and then have a chat?
Yep, I'll run through. So we've got Nobbie versus András. On the Hungarian side. So I'll run through Nobbie's squad. Nobbie has, I think we have seen it on stream before. It is Merle Colburn with Intimidation, ZZ Tlo with Cluster Missiles, Taliesin Lintra with Crackshot, and then nice Poe Dameron with Predator, R4 Astromech, Overdrive Thruster, Integrated S-Foils, and a Jamming Beam, just for good measure.
Yeah, and on the opposite side, with András, we have Major Vinder with OS1 Arsenal loadout, fire control system, proton torpedoes, advanced proton torpedoes, and advanced slam. We have Old Faithful Vader with brilliant evasion, fire control system, afterburners. And probably, arguably, even more Old Faithful, we have Suntir Fel with Predator. So interestingly enough, Nobbie does have the first player choice, and he's given it to András. So we will see both Suntir and Vader moving before Poe Dameron, which is going to give, I would say, a significant advantage to Nobbie, especially considering he's got some really great plays with the A-Wings and a really, really good blocker in Merle. What are your opinions on that one, Cameron?
I think the Merle blocker is going to be probably one of his strongest pieces in this. Both Vader and Suntir do not like to have a dice removed. And Merle with that intimidation, I think that's probably something that Nobbie is going to try to leverage, is just to get a nice block, remove actions, but also more importantly, removing the dice with intimidation and just trying to get the heavy hitter of Poe into that ship. If he can get that combo happening of intimidated ship and Poe shooting into it, I think that will really give him a good swing, because there's a lot of spike damage he can do with that.
Absolutely. And interesting enough, a ship that we haven't seen for quite a while in Vinder, even more rare on the tabletop, I hear. What do you think about that choice given this matchup? Do you think András will be able to maybe even potentially remove Merle relatively quickly, or will advanced proton torpedoes or proton torpedoes be enough to kind of keep the A-Wings and Poe at bay? What do you think about that?
I think Vinder is an interesting choice. He doesn't necessarily have the ability to double mod those proton torpedoes. So he's going to be looking at a single mod if he fires them off the turn he gets the lock, and into an A-wing who has 3 defense dice. You're probably not going to. You might get half, but you're not going to pop them, because if they're smart enough, they just take an evade anyway. And Merle's the only one he can actually get a lock on for first turn of engagement. So, yeah, I mean, I guess that the advanced proton torpedoes are the ones to worry about, but I think an evade from an A-wing is more than enough to protect them from getting one shot. So as long as Nobbie can range control a little bit and swap ships out fast enough, because obviously András is going to lean on the fire control systems to keep the lock around and take multiple ordnance shots. But yeah, I don't think it's that much of a fear for Nobbie. I think Nobbie's got a pretty good setup here against the Vinder.
So we have just seen timer start. So obviously, best of luck to both players. We'll throw it over to the chat. Who do you guys think is going to win? We'd love to hear your thoughts. Unfortunately, while we would love to interact with the stream chat a little bit more, we are on a 90-second delay as per XTC rules. So do keep that in mind when you're trying to interact with us, and we will try and communicate with you as much as possible. Now, Cameron, where does the engagement happen? What do you think target priority is for Nobbie, let's say?
I think target priority for Nobbie is probably... I think it's a tough call, and I think the answer is probably whoever he can get intimidated by with Merle. If he can catch Soontir or he can catch Vader, that's who he wants to shoot at. But I feel like in the end it's going to be probably Vinder, because Vinder is probably going to be the anvil to try and get the ships on, and then Soontir and Vader will come in for a hammer. So I think it's going to end up being Vinder, and I think it's going to end up happening in these rocks here, because it looks like that's where András wants the engagement to happen. Just given where Vinder is headed. Yeah,
correct. So what I was just about to ask is, where would you kind of, in order to mitigate your quote-unquote disadvantages as András, what do you think you kind of aim for here? Do you bully Merle out of the fight? Are you going to try and leverage out of range 3 at all times and then jump in for a massive smash and try and kill her in one engagement? What's your kind of thought process there?
Well, if I'm András, and I think this is what he's going for here, I mean, he can get a proton torpedo off next turn into Merle, and I think you send Soontir around. Obviously, Nobbie's setting up to get Poe, and I think that's Tally. Actually, I've got to update the colours here, but I think he's going to send Tally in there to help keep Merle alive. But I can see Soontir and Vinder coming in to take shots on Merle next turn and try and get him at range 3, because a proton torpedo and a Predator Soontir into Merle could do some damage. And sorry, someone in the chats just said Poe is going to make Soontir very sad, and I definitely agree with that, especially given that Nobbie has been able to pass off the initiative.
Yeah. 100%. So the rock that is separating on the top left-hand side of the board, I wonder if Merle, just for this turn, takes cover behind there to mitigate any incoming proton torpedoes, and then chooses a target to pounce on. Because the beauty of Nobbie's squad or squadron is that you are able to kind of be so far out of the fight and then really engage on all fronts or at a particular target that you want to, given the speed of this squadron. So what are we looking at from Nobbie's perspective here? Are we going to play, I guess, cautiously and then aggressively in this round, or are we going to be just going straight at it and try and pressure Soontir out of the fight here? What would you look for?
I don't really think he's in much of a position to bully Soontir out of this round, possibly next round. Vader's in a bit of an odd spot, because if Vinder does pounce, Vader is going to take at least another turn after this one to get in there. I don't really like. It looks possibly that ZZ is going for maybe straight through those rocks there down the bottom.
Bottom left, yeah.
I don't know. What do you think? What do you think Nobbie's plan is here with this positioning?
I think he's waiting certainly for a Vinder pounce. I think the safest position for Merle would be the top left-hand corner behind that rock, just to really dissuade András from attempting to fire those proton torpedoes. ZZ actually has a really beautiful lane between these asteroids to kind of pick up the slack wherever Vinder does or does not go. And Poe, with his overdrive thrusters, can just kind of position literally wherever he wants and contribute to the fight. There is probably, we have seen, okay, ignore what I said. We're not going to take cover. We're going to try and pressure Vinder out of the fight and take cover from Soontir. So that's an interesting move. We'll see how András responds.
Okay. Oh, yep, doesn't go for it. And you know what? The beauty of the slam is that now he can even turn away if he really wants to. It looks like he's setting up another move, so he is going to go for a slam. And just does it 2 straight.
Gets out of there.
Interesting. Do you think perhaps that obviously if Nobbie has committed to Vinda coming down that lane, do you think András is in a position to be able to capitalize on that?
Could you repeat the question? Sorry.
I'm just saying, given if Nobbie has committed to András coming down that lane, it looked like he was coming down. Do you think András can capitalize on Nobbie overcommitting in the wrong direction?
Potentially. I mean, the only problem is Vader is almost still in András's deployment zone here, so that would be quite difficult. Nobbie doing a beautiful job of actually calling the turn away with Vinda, so that's fantastic. And again, the beauty here is that Poe is going to be able to use overdrive thrusters, assuming that he's plugged in a straight maneuver, to even target lock or barrel roll or just get shots on Vinda. So Vinda could be in a bit of a pickle here. The beauty of it, though, is that he gets 3 defense dice, and he's got 7 health. So he probably shouldn't lose any points this round, but he'll start to get pressured a lot by Poe.
I do like that ZZ positioning there. I think she's just out of arc and getting a free shot into Vinda. Even though Vinda, you're right, will have the 3 defense dice. I think she's looking pretty happy there. It was a good call.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, Vinda wouldn't be able to attack this round anyway.
Good point.
Yeah. But this is fantastic because ZZ can then go on to pressure, say, Vader or Suntir, and even also aim the rear arc at Vinda on the flyby. So this is strong positioning from Nobbie. And we are seeing an attempted stall here from Suntir, and he's going to try and recover from that by boosting into the action and trying to get some bullseye action on Merle. We've also got Vader coming in toward the bottom of the board edge to maybe cause ZZ some problems in the later game. Here's the lock action setting up for next turn. So a 5 straight forward with ZZ might just be enough to kind of get out of trouble here and overshoot Vader. But I'll be really interested to see what Poe does here, because even though Poe has all of these movement options and he does move second, Vader can put a lot of damage through on Poe. No heroic. You probably can only take 1 decent shot from Vader here with Poe. But I guess an overdrive thrusters Poe with second player, that's probably all you need. Just kind of get in and get out. What do you think about this engagement for Nobbie here, Cameron?
Well, I think so far, I'm not sure Vader will have the arc, but ZZ does have a cheeky little range 3. Not that she'll probably take it, but she does have a cheeky little range 3. It looks like, in the end, it might end up with only 1 shot coming from Suntir, maybe into Merle there. Might be the only shot that that András has, and I don't think it's going to be that valuable. Whereas this shot that ZZ has into Vinda is pretty juicy. So I think it's sort of looking better for Nobbie here, just on positioning alone.
Absolutely. Do you think Vader has arc on ZZ?
No, I don't think so.
You don't think so?
I don't think so. Yeah.
Yeah. So almost unanswered entirely. Now, what do we think? Disregarding potential dice results, this engagement. Do you send Vader after Merle? Because we're assuming that Merle's going to 2-in and try and block Suntir. So do you think Vader calls that and tries to maybe potentially one-shot it? I just don't know what a good follow-up is here.
No, I think Vader's in a really bad spot here because he basically has to go into those rocks, which is where you don't want to send Vader, because Vader only has a barrel roll. He does have afterburners actually, so probably a 3-bank and a boost from Vader, just to get away from Poe and ZZ coming around that corner there. So we did have a shot from ZZ into Vinda, and Vinda did take 1 shield.
Oh, that was from Poe.
Sorry, Poe.
So ZZ's going to follow up. Yep.
So we do. Here's that range 3 shot I was talking about from Suntir.
Yeah. So just for any confused streamers, the players did jump the gun a little bit. Suntir should have been shooting first, but it won't make a difference to the game state here. Oh,
Very lucky. I'm surprised that he didn't take an evade. I guess with dice numbers, he probably may as well take a focus there, but just to be
yeah, I think
safe, you can never tell.
yeah, I think statistically the dice favor the focus on a 5 dice.
So he took
Um,
the lock, which means he's using those cluster missiles just for the extra dice.
yes, yeah, I think that's smart. Try and push the damage through if you can right now. Um, and there it is, 3 hits. So we might
Looking
actually
good.
see half here.
That's 3 evades. That is 3 evades.
It is 3 evades. Okay, so gets out of it there. Probably a little bit less scathed than he should be, but dice are dice. So if you had have taken a shield on Merle, I think the appropriate answer is sending Vader after her to try and get her into that one-shot territory. But now I'm not so sure. Vader really needs to distance himself from Poe, or maybe go directly at Poe to try and get behind him. But Overdrive Thrusters Poe can just outpace Vader so quickly. So what are the appropriate moves here? Do we try and block Poe with Vinder and then hammer in Vader for a big shot? What are we thinking?
Well, the first thing I would just want to call out is a big thank you to XY for the follow. I really appreciate it, XY. We love you. But I do actually think that I think Vader's in a really tough spot because he's on a 50-50 lane here. He either commits down into Merle with Soontir and tries to... Because Soontir doesn't come down that lane, surely. You don't send Soontir down there. But then if Soontir turns away, there's an opportunity that that Tally might just totally hop over you and rotate her arc. Because I think a nice, even just like a 5 straight rotate boost pretty much avoids any arc from Soontir and could catch him if he turns away. I don't know. I don't really know what András can do here to really capitalize. And I mean, I'm sure he knows what he's doing because he's in the Hungarian XTC team, and I'm just sitting here commentating on his game. But I mean, if I'm looking at this, what are the blue maneuvers on the Star Wing? Oop, that's the wrong button actually. Let me try that again.
The blue maneuvers on a Star Wing are, I believe, 2 banks and 1-2 forward.
That is correct. Look at you, X-Wing Encyclopedia. So he's got a nice, just a 2-bank. A 2-bank, and then even maybe another 2-bank slam.
I think you have to slam here.
You've got a block Poe, but then you've just left ZZ. So I guess you do you have to send in Vader because you've got to make ZZ choose. Because if you don't, ZZ just 2 banks, rotates her arc, and takes a range 1 shot into you. So I think you've got to send Vader in because Vader's not in danger necessarily of taking a Merle block, but Merle could 5 straight as well.
Yeah, I guess the battle here for András is really predicting where Merle is going to go. There is a world where Vinder could slam to get a shot and a lock and fire proton torpedoes. It really just depends on what Nobbie is going to do or what we think he's going to do. I assume that Nobbie's going to go for the block on Soontir and try and hassle with Tally. But there is the danger that Vader calls that and does get a range 1 shot. So I will be very interested to see either he goes 5 straight. No, he's going for the block on Soontir. So I wonder if András has predicted that. I don't think you can do any straight maneuver with Soontir that doesn't get blocked. So Soontir might even be pursuing ZZ here down the bottom of the board.
He doesn't boost.
Okay, interesting. So the 2 forward will make it.
Yeah.
He's probably predicting that Soontir has done a 2 hard out or a 2 bank out, and he's just trying to pressure him into getting some shots. What did we see there? Was that a 1 forward? It was a 1 straight with Vinder, and we're going for a slam here, I believe, to try and block Poe. I'm not sure if that's going to be far enough to block him, though. But he is going to try and threaten the advanced proton torpedoes or the follow-up proton torpedoes. I wonder what these A-Wings are going to do now.
I mean, what does that block from Poe? It doesn't block a 1 bank. Maybe blocks a 2 bank?
It would block a 2 bank and a 3 forward, but if Poe has gone 1 bank or, say,
I'm not
1 forward...
convinced it necessarily blocks. Probably does. I don't know. It's not a bad call, but I think he could have a two bank. He might not even needed to slam, and he would have been pretty fine there, I think.
Yeah, so this is a beautiful little death trap for Sun Fell here. So Nobbie has kind of essentially called the fact that Sunti is not going to do a forward maneuver. It's kind of the big brain play, right? So András would be assuming that Merle would be blocking. He would probably program in a 2 left turn or a 2 right turn to get out of the little the block zone, or maybe a real quick move forward. Then Merle has decided not to go for the block, and we've actually seen what we were talking about. The strength of Nobbie's squadron is that they can pick and choose a target and kind of attack from all angles from different sides of the board. So we'll have to see how aggressive Vader has been here, because he could be the only problem for these A-Wings. But it's a really good play from Nobbie here. Fantastic positional play, I'd say.
Yeah, I agree. I think, especially given the density and the size of the rocks that he's flying through, he's done a really great job to get all three of these A-Wings relevant in the same engagement here. So it looks like
absolutely
Suntir is going to avoid shots. But, I mean, it'll be interesting to see what Vader actually did do, because Vader could really make Merle hurt. But if he does, he's still taking a range 1 shot from Tally. Ooh.
Yeah, you risk, if you turn in to punish Merle, you actually risk falling into the death trap that was set for Suntir. Really good play from András as well in terms of avoiding the shots there. But I am going to be really interested to see what Poe has done here, because I think it was a little bit too slow in terms of trying to get a block on Poe.
So yeah, it looks like he went with the block Poe and okay, I like this a little bit more now, because you've either blocked Poe. The thing is, all right, 1 straight. The thing is, Poe can still get out of this.
He can. I don't think he can barrel to the left. There you go.
He just does a red focus boost. That was the only thing that I didn't like about the Vinder block, because some people were saying he can threaten the APT, but with overdrive thrusters, he actually can't, because if he doesn't get the block, Poe just 2 bank boosts over the top of him and is not getting shot. Thank you to Bandy and a couple of the other guys who had followed. Appreciate it. We try to stream at least once a week. While the XTC is happening, we don't quite have a strict schedule that we are following, but we'll be getting games. We've got a lot more games coming tomorrow. We've got about 5 games coming tomorrow, so please do follow. And Darth Wombat is saying, "Hey, Harp Daddy."
Hey, Darth Wombat. Yeah, so the problem, I guess, on that point, Cameron, that was a fantastic point. If you don't block Poe, you're not going to shoot Poe 9 times out of 10. So it was a fantastic trap set there, trying to bully Poe into either taking a range 1 shot from Vader or a range 1 APT from Vinder, or, potentially even both. But overdrive thrusters, the strength of overdrive thrusters is just so immense. And now I guess positional play is in favor of Nobbie, because he also has rear arcs. So Merle is in a position to consistently pressure Poe from behind, while Tally and ZZ can also pressure, kind of from both angles. So this is really strong play from Nobbie, but also really good play from András in terms of avoiding some of those traps set. Just missing that block. That's Poe could have done a quicker move there, but all props to both players. So how do we capitalize on this? Are you going to pursue Suntir for the rest of this game? Who's your target of opportunity for András? Like, what are you looking for? Are you looking at pressuring Poe, Merle?
So I think one great thing from András here has been he's basically made Merle's irrelevant right now. He's in terms of his pilot ability and his intimidation, he's irrelevant right now. So that's been really great. He baited him out for that block, missed it, and now Merle is behind Suntir. He's too far away from Vader. So that's irrelevant now. So that's really well done from András. But now what he needs to do is get this star wing back in play because the star wing is pretty out of position. He went for a block there. He kept himself rotated that 45 degrees towards the board. That's why I would have liked the two bank slam because that would have had him facing down the board so he can cut back in to those rocks where the engagement's happening on the other side of the board. It's just going to take him a little bit too long to get this Starwing back into play again. And it's a big expensive ship. It's a 62-point ship. It's more expensive than Soontir. And he needs to get these protons off. So Merle is now heading in, gets a lock on Soontir. He knows he's probably not going to be taking a shot this turn. The other two ships are on the other side of the board. Soontir doesn't have a rear arc. I'm inclined to agree with you, Tom. I think Nobbie's he's really going to try and put pressure on using these rear arcs, and really make sure he just gets little cheap shots into Soontir because really that's all you need to do. Threaten Soontir, keep him out of the fight a little bit longer. And I guess he's probably going to try and go to work on the Starwing. But I think he needs to be using Poe to kill these Initiative 6 ASAP.
So here's the play that I was kind of mentioning before. We have we have Merle pressuring Soontir with a front arc, and then we're probably going to have ZZ coming in as well, whilst Tally can kind of exit the fight, pressure with the rear arc, and then turn around and start getting on the back of Poe. On Vader. And the beauty of overdrive thrusters again is that Poe can kind of just decide when to enter and exit the engagement. So whatever Vinder does, we could probably just have some soft, slow maneuvers from Poe, some barrel rolls out of the board after setting up some target locks, and some really nice re-entries here as well. So no, he doesn't. Yeah, I'd say so. So this is a really good positional play from Nobbie here. So Soontir's not going to be able to dodge both of these arcs. He's only going to be able to dodge one. And two dice are better than zero dice, and he's got some really, really nice target locks as well. Takes an evade, so probably going to be safe. I think the evade was a very good choice there. Here we go. Yep. So this is also really strong. So Vader is going to try and get behind Poe, which is probably the best place for him. But again, overdrive thrusters just allows Poe to completely say no and get out of this fight. We'll have to see what Nobbie decides to do. The Vinder play, very good. He can kind of come in, and as we had Kraytari say, we had a lot of good target locks being set up there. We have Darth Vader and Major Vinder getting target locks on Poe to pressure him out of the fight potentially, while these A-wings chase after Soontir.
Yeah, Poe is not taking a shot. He just barrel rolls, and then two banks. Yep, just the power and slipperiness. That's why he doesn't even have black one, right? It's just you almost don't need it because you can, as long as you're not getting blocked, you can just get out of the fight so quick.
Yeah, so I'm actually in the discussions for what squadrons we bring to the XTC table for Australia. I was actually fairly adamant that we should bring Black One on Poe, just because that one time where overdrive thrusters doesn't get you out of the fight, Black One can allow you to bump into the ship that's going to shoot you. But Nobbie's done a very good job of not actually needing it in this game. So all power to him. I'm a big fan of Black One though.
Yeah, I am as well. And I think last time we had Nobbie on stream, there was a moment where he really needed that Black One and just didn't have it. So it's not like just for so far in this game it hasn't been necessary, but it's definitely well worth its points when you do bring it.
100%. So we see the evade action pay dividends there on Soontir and avoiding the damage. And as you've said, Cameron, András has done a really good job of actually mitigating or completely removing Merle's pilot ability from the game. He's kind of in a really good spot to just not really think about Merle outside of her being a two attack dice primary. So he's kind of, I guess you could even say that András has the initiative for this upcoming engagement. Do we see Nobbie just completely exit the fight and try and reset here?
I think so. Merle can't chase Suntir. There's no point. There's no point. You're not going to get a good, decent shot. You can't turn yourself around if you're hard turning, because Suntir's still going to be there. I think everyone heads towards that corner of the board, maybe, that Poe is facing into, and you probably just have the A-Wings and Poe pass each other as they swing back around. Vader is coming in that direction anyway, so you may as well bring the A-Wings around to threaten Vader and send Poe around to try and catch Suntir, because in this positioning right now, Merle needs to go in the other direction. I don't think he can chase Suntir here. I mean, he could, but it's a bit of a waste of effort and energy, I'd say.
I also think that Vader chasing Poe with the use of, say, afterburners, etc., is probably a mistake, because overdrive thrusters just allows Nobbie to get out of the fight so quickly. So I hope that András has not programmed in a 3-forward and planning on an afterburners boost, because he's unfortunately just not going to capture or catch or even shoot at Poe this turn. There is an argument to be made that you might be able to corner Poe and kind of keep him trapped in there. And I think one mistake that ace players often make is thinking that the corner with an obstacle is actually the safest place for them to be. But it often can be their demise if the opponent has predicted it and can kind of point all their arcs in the one direction. So I'll be really interested to see how Nobbie avoids any shots coming in or any cornering, and how András decides to set up his next engagement. I think he's probably got a turn of no incoming shots. It's just all about where Suntir and Vinder end up, because I guess Vader has a very specific direction to follow.
And the problem with Vinder's positioning is as well, he's pretty much locked himself into a one bank slam combo, I would say, because he can't quite two bank, I don't think. So the only problem is because Vinder's target lock is on Poe, he needs to catch Poe. He didn't take a stress last turn to reacquire a lock on, say, ZZ, who's the red A-Wing there in the middle. He's committed saying Vinder is shooting Poe. At least that's the most efficient way for him to make use of the locks that he's got there. So he's going to want Vinder to get into that corner, or at least try and cut off wherever Poe might be going. I can see Vinder one bank right, one bank left slam, just to try and cut off Poe's escape and send Vader off behind Poe. But I don't know what you do with Suntir here. Do you just get him out of the fight? Do you cut him back through the obstacles here?
Well, we had Darth Wombat say that Suntir maybe does a hard in and forces Nobbie to go defensive, which isn't a bad idea. It's just the only problem is you will probably be taking some 2-dice primaries, albeit they are only 2-dice primaries. But Suntir only has 3 hull, so everything matters.
Green dice can't save you forever.
Exactly. So, Cameron, we did see the kind of the fast move in with Vinder to try and cut off Poe's too hard escape route.
It was good flying by András, because I would not have dialed in that 2 bank.
Bit scared. Would you?
Yeah, I definitely didn't think it was good. I think I even said it wasn't going to fit, but it did, and so András is a much better pilot than I am.
Let's have a look. Okay, so the barrel roll fits just. Good flying by Nobbie. What do we see from Suntir here? We're gonna commit to this Poe trap.
I think he will, given where Vinder is. I think he's going to turn in. You don't expect that ZZ is going to hard turn, and she doesn't. So you can probably be pretty safe in maybe a 3 hard and just turn in. Suntir's not stressed.
He is stressed.
Oh, he is stressed? Oh, okay. So maybe a 2 hard should be fine for you to just barrel roll boost and try and see if you can corner Poe in this corner.
Man, I feel like a 2 hard actually goes on the rock, but TTS eyeball for me is not my strongest.
Oh no, the title is wrong. Sorry, everyone. I did change it before the game, but it looks like it didn't update. But I will go update that now. I think I can.
Fantastic. I think this is probably cautiously the correct move for Suntir. Just completely avoiding shots. The turn-in option was not fantastic. The gas cloud is always Suntir's friend. Leaving himself unstressed is clever. because it will allow him to one turn around that gas cloud and kind of re-enter within the center of this fight, not at risk of getting blocked by A-Wings at any time soon. So this is very clever. I am really interested in Poe's move here, though. But the beauty of overdrive thrusters is that he can just exit the fight and not get shot. But András is slowly kind of pushing Poe into that corner. So we might not be able to avoid it for too much longer. We might actually see some proton torpedoes being fired soon. Cameron, do you stop going for Poe here and actually switch your target priority to Merle? And actually try and get a proton torpedo off of her after you've moved, because you're probably going to be able to secure a target lock pretty easily next engagement.
Yeah, I think Nobbie knows that András wants Poe, and so it seems like he's just using Poe as bait here. And that, I mean, if András had changed targets, he might have been firing. No, I don't think so. I don't know. I just think his options aren't fantastic at the moment. And Poe is just too slippery, and he's chasing Poe, and that's not a good spot.
I think next turn is the perfect turn to choose an A-Wing and try and blow it up. You know, Tally, if you can pick Tally's maneuver and prevent her from barrel rolling behind the top right asteroid to avoid Vinder's shots, you probably take that opportunity, especially followed by, say, a 5 forward afterburners off of Vader. Or you 3-bank in with Vader, afterburners, acquire a lock on Merle, and try and blast that off the board, because you are going to have 2 unavoidable shots on Merle, I think, next turn. But whether Nobbie can mitigate that damage incoming is the question. Merle potentially triggering a bullseye proc, or centering himself in bullseye, so the attacker gets lower agility. That might be a good thing to do. I think Merle is actually the choice of target here, because you've got 2 higher initiative ships. You've got a lot of firepower coming in. If you strip shields off Vader, then you're almost guaranteed to kill it with Vinder. I think that's what you do. And then kind of clean up with Suntir, and just accept that you're not going to shoot Poe. What do you think about that play? Do you switch to Merle here? Yeah, correct. Now, does Nobbie big brain that play and assume that you're going to switch target priority and then 2 left in and just kind of try and blast off the Vinder?
I don't think it's worth it. I think it just puts too much risk, because if he hasn't, and he very well might not, he could just cut through that sort of lane just to the left of Vinder, and still maybe catch Merle. And if Poe is turned in there as well, then it's definitely going to spell bad news. But to be fair, Vinder has to set up his lock before he sees what Poe has done.
Yeah, I'm really excited for this turn. This has been a really interesting positioning game of X-Wing. I think Suntir has done the right moves given the amount of shots that face him, but I think he's going to have to really get into the fight and try and commit to something for András to kind of get the points over the board in this matchup.
Yeah, I completely agree. It's been genuinely, despite the lack of damage, it has been a really interesting game, just because there's so much maneuverability on the board with the slams, with the ship abilities, and the afterburners and Poe. It's just been very interesting watching both players try to use their chassis abilities to their advantage to try and catch each other out. But Nobbie's done a great job using that overdrive thrusters Poe to put himself in a not so good position. If he didn't have overdrive thrusters, that would have been a really bad spot for him when he was back at the bottom of the board. But knowing what he had brought with him, he's done a really great job to avoid a single one of this ordnance going from Vinder, but I think he may not get so lucky this turn. So it looks like he is committing to Tally.
Yep. I think a move from Tally would probably be the 2 hard, and then the barrel roll completely avoids arc. I think a 2 bank off of Vinder to catch that Merle move might have been a little bit more bang for buck here.
He doesn't get ZZ in the target lock.
Tally.
Tally. Yeah, it doesn't get Tally in the target lock. That's big. That's very big. That means that there's still no ordnance coming off this round.
We've got Draco in the chat saying we have lost Cameron. Is your audio all
no,
good?
I was muted a little bit, and we were having a conversation, and I wasn't muted. Sorry, and I was muted.
Oh, okay,
so
sure.
I'm just muting just so that the ambient noise doesn't overtake your beautiful voice.
Dulcet tones.
So now there is no massive risk to Zizi here. She is happy to just come in, focus, boost. Yeah. There's no real concern here. Just given the Vinder not getting that lock, that's devastating, I think, for András there.
Yeah. Just to clarify, there's no real risk to Tally.
Tally,
not to
yes.
ZZ.
They're all the same. These A-Wings.
A-Wings, exactly. We are going to have a range 3 shot from Vader and a setup for the target lock, but we are seeing András kind of flip-flop between target priority here. We are also having a timer stop, so let's just take 1 second. I'm not entirely sure what's happening.
Yeah, but let's just see if it goes.
We can figure it out.
Dial deleted.
Delete.
1 moment. See, that is why you've got to have 2. You got to spawn your list twice.
Technology is not my friend, so I'm not entirely sure how you'd fix this error. Do you just drag and drop the dial on the...
Yep. No, he can just... He's spawned the squad again anyway. Whose dial got deleted?
Darth Vader's, I believe, when he was trying to do a reposition action.
Oh, man. See, this is...
At least he'd done the move.
This is the sort of stuff that doesn't happen in real life. Oh, no, I accidentally deleted my dial. So he could have... He can still lock Poe if he wants. No, he's obviously not going to lock Poe. Poe is gone. Poe is... See you later. I mean, you were right. If Poe has done... I think the hard 2 is blocked by Merle there, but... I mean, Poe is in a really happy position because now András is in that corner. And that's going to give him a chance to maybe strike out and catch him a bit of Soontir, because it's going to maybe be another round after this of Vinder still not shooting ordnance, and that's what he's there to do, and he hasn't done a single one yet.
Yeah, absolutely. So not stressing from Soontir because you don't need to, but again, in kind of problem range from Merle. So Nobbie's done a good job of turning around. I would have loved to have seen a 2 bank from Vinder this turn, so they can just kind of light up Merle, and then Vader could have also come in and done afterburners kind of down that track, and you could have had both Vader with a target lock and advanced targeting systems, and Major Vinder firing a proton torpedo into Merle. Just missing that lock on Tally was a big blow, a massive blow.
Yeah, it would have been a very different round of firing if that target lock had gone. It was so close as well, and there's really nothing different that András could have done. And you know what, to give some commendation to Nobbie there, the reason that didn't work was because of that barrel roll that he'd fit in with Tally, I think a turn ago, which when I saw it, I went, I don't really understand what you're doing there. But obviously Nobbie understood what he was doing. He was keeping that range so that Vinder couldn't get the lock and trap Tally in the corner. So big commendation to Nobbie on that play there, because I think that's been a game changer, because it could have been a dead Tally this turn if he hadn't done that.
100%. So we're going to see some shots here.
So Soontir no shot, and now Vader. So this is András's best chance of putting damage in. This is the best shot he's had all game. And not bad.
Oh, gets out of it.
Yep. So still no damage coming into Nobbie. There's one more shot coming in to Tally, but it's not the most terrifying shot. Spends it. Goes for it.
Well, you're not taking a shot from Vinder.
Oh, because
so
Vinder,
you
that's
completely
right.
safe.
I forgot about the... so that's 2 more into Vinder. Vinder is shields down. 1 more for half. I mean, positioning here from Nobbie has been incredible, really. I think stopping... Oh, I forgot to start the timer again. Thanks, Draco, AU. I blame András for that, because he deleted his Vader doll. And
so, yeah, I think the turn to maybe switch things around for András and get a positional advantage was the 2 bank in with Vinder, followed up by a move with Vader to kind of light up Merle there. But now advantage Nobbie, advantage position Nobbie, while no points are on the board yet. I think this has been a very strong turn for Nobbie because Taliesin can't be blocked. Merle can now again pressure Suntir. ZZ can 2-hard in to set another trap for Suntir, and Pearl and Poe can do a follow-up shot. Pearly Poe. Pearl, I said it again. Poe just needs to be cautious of the 2-bank 2-hard slam from Vinder. But again, overdrive thrusters is going to give him a lot of leverage to avoid these ordnance shots. What do you do with Vader here, Cameron?
I think Vader probably... Your 1 bank is safe because Merle can't be there. And you're... I mean, Tally can pressure you there, but you've just got to get Vader in. He can't go into that corner because he's doing nothing again this turn. I think you've got a 1 bank and leverage your barrel roll to try and get a shot into Merle. Because Merle can't be in your 1 bank space, so you know it's safe. He just needs to do something because Vader has not taken a single shot, except for that this turn here was his first shot, and he's not getting a shot into Tally again. So you've got to do something, and I think you've got a 1 bank in, barrel roll. I'm not sure if Suntir will feel comfortable enough to come in either, because you've got a 2-hard there from ZZ. I don't like the Suntir positioning, but I think Vader can do something.
Suntir also might be going over that rock with a fast enough maneuver. I can't quite tell with the TTS angle. Is there a world where Darth Vader 4Ks, assuming that Taliesin has punched in to try and catch an exit maneuver with Suntir?
Vader 4Ks?
Vader, yep.
Yeah, look, that's not a bad idea, but I just think Tally's probably not the ship you necessarily want to be shooting at right now. I think you were right. You've got to turn in on Merle, get Merle off the board. He's the thing that's really screwing with positioning at the moment, I think, because you need to be careful to not get blocked by him. So if you can get rid of him off the board, that'll really open up those more risky moves for András, because at the moment he can't really take much risk. And here we go. I think a 1 bank from Vader will be pretty devastating for Merle if he can get it. Even a 3-hard, maybe? 3-hard?
Yep. With a boost?
Yep.
Taliesin can block any left-hand turns from Vader as Tally moves after Vinder.
True.
So does have to be cautious of that. But a big brain play again would kind of just be the 2 forward. I don't know. It's definitely poker, which is the best part of the this game. I feel.
That
and then
I know, you know,
exactly.
sort of thing.
Yeah, exactly. We do see Merle assuming that Suntir will be turning in here and going for the block. Even if András calls it and Suntir exits the fight again, I mean, that's all Nobbie wants. He just wants that 3-dice gun to be out of the fight for as long as possible while these A-Wings do some chip damage to Vinder and Vader.
So Poe can escape this, right? He's not stressed. He can 4 forward, 3 bank, and all of that's going to get him out of arc, right? So he's not in... Vinder is... That was Vinder's only move there. He didn't really have much else he could have done. But he's still, again, not going to get these ordnance off unless Poe has gone a cheeky 2-hard to cut through those rocks there. But I can't imagine... Nobbie's been very patient with Poe all game. I can't imagine him breaking that now.
Look, even with the too hard, I think a barrel roll 2-bank boost probably gets you out of arc again and allows you to shoot at Vader. So we got a 1 forward bump with Vader, which is not bad. Sunti is going to be able to avoid this arc with a barrel roll boost, and not going to get any shots in return either, because Taliesin anticipated the 4K from Vader, and also rotated the arc. So really strong Sunti play, I guess, in terms of predicting kill boxes with András, but unable to commit to the fight or participate in the fight. Even now, I believe, doesn't have an arc on Taliesin.
No, I don't think so. I'm just going to do a quick rotate for us all here at home. No. So we may have a round of no András shots at all.
Potentially, yeah. The 2 hard barrel roll boost, or the 3 hard.
3 hard, and that's going to give Poe the opportunity to shoot into Sunti as well.
Exactly. Yeah, 100%. Now, while Nobbie's doing these Poe moves, I do have one massive favour to ask any of our Hungarian viewers. How do you say space slug in Hungarian? Please type in the chat.
I was waiting for one of them to respond, and then I realised that they won't hear this for 90 seconds. And also, they can't talk to us. I was actually waiting for someone to actually say something.
To audibly say something.
It shows you how broken we are. So, a really fantastic positioning from Nobbie here. He's not taking a shot, and he's getting Poe shots. Admittedly, 2 dice, but taking Poe shots into either or. You've got range 2 into either of them. Sunti's got no mods. Vader's got his force. I mean, you shoot Sunti, right? I mean, he's not as expensive, but I mean, yeah, you can do some seriously devastating stuff here. 2 dice into 3 dice. If he blanks out, you get half points.
One's enough. Should only be 3 dice, I think. Yep. Coming in. And is safe.
Yep, that's fair enough. I mean, Poe had to close his wings to do that barrel roll, so... but still, I mean, a shot is a shot, right? And Tally. That's right. Tally has her arc backwards. That looks good.
So risk of losing half points here, but no, another triple natty. Vinda has been rolling pure fire when it really matters.
Yeah, I think still no points on the board, but Nobbie is really controlling the flow of this game at the moment. Just with the arc potential that he has, not just positioning, but the potential of where he can put his arcs with the rotating cannons on these A-wings. It's really hard for András to commit to make a risky move to really try and punch damage in, because Vader surely can't hard 2 from here. It looks like he's now committed himself around that rock. So he's out of the fight. Unless he 4Ks, probably 4Ks here. But Tally's going to be long gone, and you're not going to get to shoot her, because surely she could just 5 straight here and be pretty safe. And possibly block or get a shot onto Sunti.
Yeah, I think the best opportunity for András to get points on the board was that turn where Merle turned in, and you had that opportunity for a 2-bank quick move with Vader, and to tag team with Vinda and Vader onto Merle. Again, that positional play from Nobbie to barrel roll Taliesin out of target lock range was a very fantastic move. So beautiful flying from Nobbie, and again, position advantage Nobbie, I would say, this round. You know, a 4K is quite risky with Vader here, because you've got Poe on his tail.
Right there.
Yeah, but you also probably expect Nobbie to pursue Sunti here. I'm not entirely sure that Vinda will be able to get arc coverage on Poe this turn, simply because any hard turns in towards where Poe is facing right now might actually be blocked by Poe. So really, really strong positional play. What do you do with Merle here? I don't think the 2 hard will fit.
No, I think you can probably just happily 2-bank. And you might not be able to barrel roll off that. Yeah, Merle is a little bit out of position. Actually, Bandy in the chat has said has typed out how to pronounce space slug in Hungarian.
Yeah,
but
how do you think you say that, Cameron?
It has an umlaut, so I'm not quite sure. I could get my wife, who's from the region. She's not quite Hungarian, but she was telling me her family lives right on the border of Hungary. I just googled that word, and it did come up with the space slug from Star Wars. So let me hang on.
Siga.
So my wife couldn't help me pronounce that, but she did say that the word for bless you in Hungarian is ege segedre. So if she got that wrong, that's not on me. That's on her. Anyway, we love language in this household, if you can't tell. Sorry, I was not watching. So we did have the 2-bank come from Merle. Was it a 2-bank?
It was, and failed a boost in behind Suntir.
So just locked into it too hard.
Yeah, exactly. So Suntir is going to be able to avoid a Merle shot, but Taliesin is either going for the block or going to be able to try and get a rear end shot onto Suntir. And Poe is going to be essentially having a really, really easy time of getting an unanswered shot into Suntir here. So this is quite a worry. What have we got with ZZ here? So ZZ doesn't have a target lock on any of the Empire ships facing her right now. Vinda does have a target lock on ZZ, so probably a proton torpedo. I think we're also about to see an afterburners charge being spent here to get Vader around that corner. There it is. So we're going to see 2 shots coming into ZZ here. Luckily, one of them, that being Major Vinda, should have a token stack on ZZ to help. Or at least a token. So ZZ should have a token for both shots coming in here. But it could be points on the board this round. We'll have to see what happens.
Yeah, I mean, ZZ's happy to take this shot and hopefully not spend that focus and gain an evade for the incoming proton torpedoes. The proton torpedoes are only single modded, and again, the Nobbie's ability to keep swapping out the main target and András having to change targets so many times has stopped him from really getting any double modded shots in. I mean, you saw Vader. I mean, he had full force. He's had to spend down. But again, he's using resources to try and get mods in these shots. But András now has finally decided we are all going into the same ship. He sent Suntir in. Everyone this turn is shooting into ZZ. And I think if Nobbie had to choose a single ship on the board to take 3 shots, I think ZZ might be the one, just from their ability alone.
Absolutely, yeah. From a dice modification standpoint, that'd absolutely be the case. But really fantastic positional play from András this turn in terms of responding to positions from Nobbie, and we'll have to see how much damage gets put in here. I mean, that is a lot of dice. We've got a 4, 7, 10 dice coming into ZZ. So
But we still only have no mods on Suntir. He's not getting that bullseye.
Correct.
We've got double mods from Vader, and Vader can do the crit. And Vinda has a proton torpedo and a single mod, so it's not looking good for ZZ, of course. But it's not necessarily looking end game for her. She could definitely survive this, especially when she's rolling the 2 evades that he needed there. Spends his token. He's got focused evade now. Really happy to naturally evade that shot.
Absolutely, yeah. That was a really good opportunity for András to prevent ZZ getting a token stack, but now she's got one, unfortunately. Does have a very good and strong shot coming in from Vader. Another undamaged shot. So it's just going to be the proton torpedo, which could, theoretically, one-shot her here, but we'll have to see what happens.
Yeah, now that she spent that evade, definitely good. I know the evade still counts as an evade regardless, but I may have saved it for that shot in the case of a blank out. Because you're right, that proton torpedo could just completely wipe you out if you blank out next turn.
Oh, we do have half points on Vinder here.
Oh, and a crit as well. And the crit is blinded. That is massive. That is he finally gets to fire one of these ordinances. And it's now...
It doesn't have any mods. That is massive.
I mean, you fire it anyway. It's 4 dice, but that hurts. That gets a really good spread anyway. But it may do nothing here. And it does nothing.
It does nothing. Yeah. Wow.
I mean, look, the greens were great from ZZ. However, she had all the mods. There was a good chance she maybe takes only one. Sorry from Nobbie there. I think that was sort of expected-ish. You know, if I had to say, I would say at most ZZ probably takes half at most, and that's half. Bad dice. At most, and yeah, I mean, that was a perfect fire control system roll. You know, he had 1 dice he needed to re-roll. He would have been really happy with that, but unfortunately, didn't happen this round.
We have stopped the timer here, guys. What time is it on overlay is the question.
Let me tell them. It's actually like, oh wow, someone went wrong with their clock. 22 minutes and 43 seconds. Good thing we were streaming this match.
Yeah, absolutely.
I hope they know how to edit the clock, because I tried to edit the clock the other night when I was testing with it, and I don't know how to edit the clock on.
Yeah,
TTS.
You have to type it in seconds. It's quite hard if you're not mathematically, you know.
Nobbie's a pro, so I have faith that he'll do it.
Yeah, he is a TTS pro.
Oh, there we go. He's done it. Look at that. All right, and they've started time again. We're about 2 seconds behind. Doesn't really matter. Actually, I think we're dead on now. Oh, we're a few seconds behind, but it's fine.
So what do we see now, guys? How do we kind of make good of a bad situation for András? That was a massive blow for any kind of points on the board for András there.
He needs to get these. The only thing is, he's pretty much locked into. I mean, does a 2 bank fit? And even if it does, it's probably bumped. There's no chance of him firing another ordnance this round, and every chance that ZZ kills him. ZZ's looking pretty happy to do a hard turn away here, even maybe a 2 hard rotate. Do you just... I don't know what you do with Vinder here. Vinder's pretty much got to take a turn to set up, but he might not. I mean, Poe and the other 2 A-Wings are facing the wrong direction to capitalise on a rest turn for Vinder, but Vinder's not clearing that stress. I mean, he's got to 1 forward and go over the rock next turn. I think it's a really tough position.
It is a tough position. I think he was really banking on killing ZZ there. You know, Dice just kind of edged it away from him there. But I think a 2 forward off of ZZ or a 3 forward off of ZZ is quite nice. You just have to be aware of a 4K off of Vader. But the fact that you've taken 0 damage really allows you to kind of take some... Actually, you know what? I'm going to take that back. You don't want to take any risks in this position. You're only 31 points up.
Yep, only 31 points up. So I agree. Nobbie can't rest on his laurels here. He needs to keep the pressure on, and the other ships are too far away to do that. So I think he needs to get ZZ out of there, turn your A-Wings and your Poe around, and start to capitalise. He's got the lead now. He knows that if things keep running, he'll get to the end of time and he'll win as long as no damage happens. But he's not going to let that happen. But he needs to not take massive risks. You've got the lead now. Take your time. Reset. Come back in, because in an exchange of fire, he definitely will come out on top, and he's got a turn of Vinder doing nothing essentially, unless András has seen something that we haven't.
Correct. I think a 2 hard towards Sunti here with ZZ is actually a really good move. It's going to kind of allow you to keep putting the pressure on Vinder. You're not going to get shot by Suntir, and you might be in a position to potentially prevent Vader shots as well. I mean, Vader's probably not going to do a 4K now that you've seen where Vinder. Wow, that was a fantastic move from Nobbie.
I think he was probably expecting Vinder to turn in and use his rear arc, but this is even better. I mean, Vinder's on, what is it, 3 health? 3 health. This is a great spot for you. I mean,
It is.
the only thing is, I guess if Suntir is coming in, I think maybe that's what he's debating. Do you turn, focus, rotate, and scare Suntir away?
You could potentially do that. I would be worried about a Suntir kind of 2 bank 2 forward. I think you're pretty safe from Vader here, though.
He rotates it.
Does rotate. Yep. I don't know if a straight maneuver gets you bullseye on Suntir. I don't believe it does.
No, definitely not.
So the rotate's actually probably a pretty good call.
Yeah, I think so. I think because look, you'll get a shot into Vinder, but at the end of the day, Vinder is still, even at this point, at least 2 turns away from being relevant again. He's still stressed. He's still got a blinded pilot. He's got his lock on ZZ, who is behind him. Turn in on the I6s. Try and get some points out of them now.
Absolutely. And while you're doing that, you're really in a position to be able to pressure these I6s. And when Vinder does finally re-enter the fight, you're going to be able to initiative kill him with Poe and ZZ and Tally. So this is a real opportunity for Nobbie to keep the pressure on, get some points on Suntir or Vader. This is a problem, though. So this is exactly what I was worried about. So a straight move from Suntir here could spell the end for ZZ unless we get some good rolls like we did last turn.
So I'm not quite sure what's happened, but it looks like there's a 4K. There was. I think it was meant to be a 4K from Vader and a 2 straight from Suntir. But what's actually happened is he's mixed those dials around. So he's dialed in the 2 straight on Vader and the 4K on Suntir. But because Suntir's stressed, he just does a white 2 forward anyway, which actually works out for him. So if András had gotten the dials around the right way, he would be in an absolutely horrendous position right now, with Vader, I mean. But luckily, he got them around the wrong way. So András just does a 2 straight white with Suntir. He may not get his focus, though. So he is taking 2 shots from Merle, one from Merle and one from ZZ into Suntir. But look, it's probably a lot better than a bumped, stressed Vader.
100%. Yeah, absolutely. And because Suntir has done that 2 white forward, he won't have any tokens. So if ZZ gets out of this relatively unscathed or completely unscathed, we actually might be able to see both Poe and ZZ get shots into...
Wow, that overdrive thruster is so good.
It's so
Look at what
insane.
he's doing. He is barrel rolling over the top of his own friend to get arc. That's incredible.
Such good utility with that ship. Absolutely insane, especially if you have initiative, and we've seen Nobbie really make the most of overdrive thrusters in this game, and I think this is a bit of a masterclass in overdrive thrusters Poe, so he should be thanking himself.
So here's the range one. There was no bullseye for the Predator or for the ability from. This is Vader shooting. My bad. So Vader gets hit, crit, gets half points on ZZ there. So ZZ spends the focus, uses the charge to gain a new token. So that is half points now on ZZ. Doesn't put András in the lead, but it does give him some points on the board, which is nice.
Could do with a crit here, though.
Oh, I didn't realize there was a crit coming in. I must have...
Damage sensor array.
Oh, right, because he spent the focus. Right, damage sensor array. That's not great, because that means he now can't use his ability. Actually, what is that actually might be that might be a incorrect timing.
I see what you're saying.
Yeah, because he may not be able to gain that. Oh, is it gain? I think it might be gain. Just quickly get the
Yes,
card
it is
up.
gain. It is gain.
It's gain. Never mind, everyone. So he's posed 2 dice shot into Soontir, gets the 2 hits. I think this is going to be really clutch. If he can get the 2 damage in, and it looks like no. So I think the dice have been pretty good on both sides, to be honest. I think they've both had some really good dice when they needed it at the moment, which is evident by how little damage there has been, and we're at 14 minutes left in the round. There we go.
Could get damage here.
So he really needs to get this half points on Soontir, because that will really... There it is.
Oh,
That's the half points on Soontir. So his greens don't save him twice, and that puts Nobbie in a nice position here. He's got a 36-point lead, and another shot into Soontir as well. This could be a dead Soontir. He's got the target. No, he doesn't have the target lock. Or does he? I think he does. No, that's Merle. No, Merle does have a target lock. So
doesn't need it.
Doesn't need it. Spends the focus. If we get we need two evades here. Doesn't get it.
That is a dead
Soontir.
So now Poe definitely has the upper hand here. The overdrive thrusters are absolutely going to be enabling him to kind of get the kill shot on Vinder. Taliesin not dying there was also big, but not going to be able to rotate that arc unless you fix the crit first, then spin. But Vader is in a position to get the kill shot on ZZ. But Cam, if you correct me if I'm wrong, but that wouldn't put a dead ZZ wouldn't put András in the lead, would it?
Say again, sorry.
A dead ZZ would not put András in the lead.
No, because that would only give him 45 points total.
Yeah, exactly. So
advantage
Nobbie.
Yeah, advantage Nobbie at the moment. And someone in the chat, A. Carlson, I just want to say, he says, evening guys, nice to have something to look at when I'm doing the dishes. That is exactly what I do. I put on X-Wing and I have it sitting on the windowsill as I do the dishes. It's the best way to do the dishes. Cameron,
you should be supporting András because he defeated me last week in the Swedish XTC game. So take it back.
András Carlson.
Mr. Carlson.
Ah, I see. I didn't do the connection. You're saying I should support him or I shouldn't be supporting him?
Well, I mean, do you support Australia or do you support Sweden?
Sweden.
Okay. Jesus. Fair enough. No, but thanks for tuning in on András. I hope you guys are doing well in your match this week. I haven't actually been following, I'm sorry. And if Sweden's not doing well, I hope you're doing well.
Yeah.
There you go.
That's the important part. I mean, if you're András here, you're probably hanging your head a bit low. But it's not over. I mean, it's not a huge swing. I mean, your biggest problem here is Poe is on the board at full health, and he's got every trick in the book. And you've still got 2 ordnance in the cannon, and you're still blinded if you're Vinder. And Vader cannot solo this whole squad. It's looking rough. It's not over, but it is looking rough for András at the moment.
Yeah, even if Vader gets a solid unanswered shot into Poe here, it is very unlikely to net him half points. So András is out of position with Vinder. Probably going to be able to remove ZZ from the board this turn, but it is looking difficult. An uphill battle and only 11 minutes to go. So, I mean, in terms of just netting you points, just try and kill ZZ, maybe a slow move with Vader, and just accept that Vinder's gonna bite the dust here, I'd say.
But I think that's a problem because ZZ, it's that 50-50 call at the moment because does Vader do the 4K he'd been planning the whole time and you go and block that? Or does Vader just do a slow maneuver and allow Poe and the other A-Wings to get in behind him? You've got to try and call that. Because if Vader does do that 4K and you've hard turned to block a slow maneuver, then you're probably going to lose ZZ. If you go to block the 4K and he's done a slow maneuver, then you're going to lose ZZ. So it'll be interesting to see what actually, to be fair, he could just 2-hard ZZ to the left.
Correct.
And be fine anyway. So I'll
Damage sensor array though, so not going to have any tokens.
Correct, that's exactly right.
But yeah, look, the 2-hard slam is unfortunately probably the best move for Vinder here because he does get the additional dice on the slam token. But it is that's an incorrect game state. Oh no, it's not. He hasn't decided to flip over his arc. I'm sorry, I jumped the gun.
Yes, he just focused.
Just focused, yeah. So yeah, look, I think the one bank off Vader is the nicest move here to kind of put the nail in ZZ's coffin. But you are going to get shot from Merle and from Poe. So you actually could lose half health here as well.
And it could be I guess he's got overdrive thrusters. I was going to say it could be a lock focus from Poe, but Poe probably, one banks. Ooh. Focus. Nope, lock focus, yeah.
Yeah, absolutely.
Takes a fully modded shot.
And just it leaves you open for the one bank toward the top left obstacle. And then overdrive thrusters on either side, depending on where Vader goes.
Yep.
If Vader tries to exit incredibly quickly, you barrel roll to the left. If Vader stays over that side, you barrel roll to the right. It's just fantastic. I do think we're going to see ZZ bite the dust here, though.
Yeah, I mean, surely. Dice permitting.
With an FCS.
Ooh, she could live. Gets the free pain.
She does. That is so disrespectful. Even worse for Vader here now, because we've got target lock focus Poe, potentially range 1 Merle, and a definite range 1 ZZ. So we could see a lot of damage come into Vader here.
So we'll finish this round, but Mr. Carlson has said that he managed to win his match against Malware, but Sweden lost with 3-4 against Malta. But he's peachy, so that's good, and he hopes you're good.
Thanks, András. 3 hits from Poe.
Oh, a blank out from Vader. That hurts.
Rough.
That's half points. And you're into the hole, and you've still got 2 shots coming into you, possibly range 1 shots.
I don't think Merle's going to be range 1, but yeah, the ZZ shot is definitely going to hurt. That is very unfortunate for András. That was kind of his opportunity to get more points. If we do see Vader get down here, I think we're actually going to have a 200 zip win. Not a zip win, but you know what I'm saying.
Yeah. Not zip. The opposite of zip. So Nobbie not taking any responsibility and just saying it was BS dice. I don't necessarily. I mean, the dice have definitely been. I would tilt them maybe towards Nobbie's favour, but his positioning has just been so good. He's taken way more shots into ships than András has. He just has.
To be fair, it is a rough matchup for András, given initiative, given rear arcs. But the target priority from András has been flip-flopping with Vinder, and I think that has definitely been to Nobbie's advantage.
Yeah, I think he was really trying to leverage the double mod proton torpedo when he knew he couldn't catch those A-wings. And not catching Tally in that corner really hurt him, because that would have been a massive shot.
Yes, absolutely.
So Vader sneaks away alive. He's got 2 hull left. Vinder is still blinded. And he's locked in again to the old 2 bank 2 hard, or the 2 forward 2 hard. You don't really have time. You need to get Vinder in there. I would suggest maybe a 1 forward, 1 bank slam, repair your blinded. You've just got to do something. You can't have him just sort of wandering around the edge of the board with a blinded pilot.
Yeah, I completely agree. But I think also, if you are able to get a shot and you don't get initiative killed, that's your best opportunity to get more points on the board. I just don't know if you're going to be able to get a shot on Poe, even with a 2 bank 2 hard.
No, I don't think so either, but you need to get rid of that blinded pilot. And that's sort of why he's running away, because he's out of position. He's got a blinded pilot. I think you 1 bank... 1 forward to get rid of the stress, and then 1 bank slam, then advanced sensors, slam, fix your crit, and then next turn maybe you can do something. Because again, this turn you're right, he's still not going to probably get a shot into Poe.
Yeah, absolutely. So I'm just going to ask for an update on the rest of the XTC Australia versus Hungary games, and I'll try and update you guys shortly.
Yeah, Darth Wombat echoes my sentiment there. Twice he nattied, twice he blanked out. It balances, and Nobbie has been firing a lot more. That's the main takeaway I try to bring with me when it comes to dice now is, you've got to roll more dice to get better results. That's just like the long and the short of it, really. The more you roll dice, the better it'll average out.
100%. And we've just seen Suresh, a fellow slug, say that Nobbie has graduated now to complaining about his good dice as well, which is a feat not many people have achieved. But I think that Nobbie has just been playing very solidly in this game. We do see the too hard in. Probably going to require a lock onto Poe to try and get some torps in, but a 1 bank or 2 bank toward the top left obstacle with Poe is going to allow him to dodge that arc again. The overdrive thruster is just so good. But I think Poe is just going to be able to get too many unanswered shots. Okay, no, we haven't blocked, but we are going to see a rear arc shot from ZZ into Vader here as well.
What do you think he was? Do you think maybe he was thinking ZZ was running away with that? Because that's not what you want. This is probably the second last round, depending on how quickly the guys go. The table clock is at pretty much right on where we are, so just about 3 minutes.
Yeah, I think this might be András's attempt at getting points on Poe. Because we're going to have to see Poe either barrel to the left or right to avoid Vinder's arc. Sorry, to the left. And now we can have Vader kind of get a shot into him. Interesting move behind the obstacle, though. I think where he was before would have been fine in terms of getting shots had Poe barreled to the left to avoid Vinder's arc.
I think he's hoping for a block on Poe.
Yep, could be hoping for a block as well. And then you can fire those advanced protons.
That would feel good if you could get that in, but even then it's going to be instructed.
And blinded.
Yeah. Oh, he gets it. No, he doesn't get it. Oh, no. I mean, he's firing an ordnance. Poe can't really, even with a nice little poverdrive around the corner there. He's probably happy to just, I guess he kept his wings closed, just double mod, kill Vader, trade a range 1 5 dice, unmodded into 3 dice. Shot.
Are you getting shot from Vader?
Not from Vader, sorry. Close. No, I mean the Vinder shot. I mean the Vinder.
Yeah, but I thought you might actually have barrel rolled with Poe there, but looks like he's not actually getting shot. So fantastic move.
He kept his wings open, so
couldn't barrel roll.
Barrel roll.
Yep. I think you just accept the blinded pilot shot. It's unlikely to get you.
Yeah. Oh, I mean, look, he had all the mods in the world. It was a very good chance of him getting those 4 dice.
Oh, absolutely.
And that's dead Vader.
There is Vader.
Yep. Just could not get momentum for András. He just could not get that momentum with his shots. And I mean, this could be a dead Vinder. Vinder has... Oh, he's got 3 health left, so probably not.
But we are going to get another turn.
Oh, and Tally gets a shot as well, I think. So
yeah, correct.
Could be. Nope. But Tally the no. Tally doesn't have the ordnance.
No. Two hits though.
And he's fine. So here we go. This is András's chance. He's finally firing ordnance into Poe. It's not range 1. I was actually really rooting for him to get the range 1 there. I really wanted to see him fire those advanced proton torpedoes, but he's firing the regular proton torpedoes. If he gets full string here, what is the wording of blinded pilot?
It is.
Let
me read it for you.
Cannot modify your dice Yeah, so he can't even actually use the proton torpedo ability to change it to a crit.
Yeah, and that is time.
That's time. Yeah, right there on the last shot, time goes.
Okay, so that was a beautifully played game by Nobbie, a very patient, calculated game. A very difficult uphill battle for András, especially at the end there, missing a couple of those key moments in terms of target priority. But both great games from both players. So thank you to both of them for coming onto the stream. Should we jump into their voice channel?
I've just popped a message in the chat. Stick around, guys, because we will jump in and feel the emotions with them and run through how they felt that game just went. I just want to double check before I jump into their chat, and because you never know, Nobbie could be in tears, and I don't want to put him on blast.
All right, so we're going to jump in now.
Cool. He's already over there. All right, I'm in. So good game, guys. That was a really very, very exciting game from start to finish.
I gotta say, look, honestly, it came down to the dice with ZZ. Like ZZ should be dead. I was saying like he should have deserved to get ZZ that damage when he caught ZZ. And I got off scot-free. And I was like, if ZZ had took a damage, ZZ would have been dead by now. But you know, I had the option of like, okay, I'm just going to token stack if I get it caught out, and it paid off. And in exchange, that like it's funny. Like I don't know. The major thing was when he actually his Jinti should have had a token, and his Darth Vader actually tried to do the 4K, but he got the dice mixed up. I don't know if you saw that.
Yeah, I did see that. I thought, and it was funny because it did sort of work in András's favor there, because it meant that you weren't blocked with the Vader.
Yeah, but I was prepared to roll out with Suntir the block, so basically both of them could have shot.
Yes, right. Very good point, actually. Yes. Yeah. So the positioning game, most of that game was positioning, and it was actually very exciting to watch. András, how did you find your positioning worked out for you? Because I think Vinder got sort of pulled down to that bottom section of the board and got a little bit lost for a while, and then was caught sort of chasing people. Was that the plan?
Some way that was the plan, because I know his ACs was faster and Step was after him, but at least he was basically, I mean, Poe didn't do anything till the end of the game because he was afraid getting torpedoed.
Yep, very true. It was definitely Nobbie's idea there to avoid getting a proton torpedo.
Unfortunately, the one thing when in the top my right section, I hope I can trap Telly, when Vader shot at him. But unfortunately, he was barely out of the target lock range.
Yeah, that was devastating, because that was you'd clearly gone, that's it, we're going to shoot into ZZ, into Tally, we're going to blow her up this turn, and not getting that lock by it was very, very close. We all thought that was going to work, and it just happened that the barrel roll that he'd done, I think a turn or two earlier, had just kept him far enough away.
Yeah, so that was one, but I wasn't that sad about that. I mean, it happens. But basically, the really sad stuff for me was really ZZ still lives. I mean, come on.
Yeah. As I said to him, I said, look, ZZ should die here when he got the range 1 Vader, and I was like, I knew it, but I also knew that, like, I think I'd already won the game at that point with the damage, getting half points on Vader. Kind of like, okay, I've got enough lead that I can almost lose a ship, and I'm okay. But like when ZZ survived that, I was just like, I'm really sorry, man, because ZZ
honestly, on that turn, ZZ should have died.
Yeah, 100%. I totally agree with you, and I felt so bad.
And you rolled the blinded pilot.
The blinded pilot was just like, oh no,
that was devastating.
Yeah, that really limited it. And then I was like, Vinder's no longer scared, and my main goal was basically just get half points on him, where I could. Like, I got the 3 shields off him. I'm like, okay, just one more and I can get half points on him. And then, because it's almost a waste shooting at him, I had to catch Suntir or Darth Vader. And I also know that Merle was a bit of a threat for you, so I was trying to not overly commit with Merle, because I've had games where I've scored a bump on Merle and then one of those ships just die. It makes you very sad. So But I've also had lots of practice flying against Vinder, thanks to a local Sean T. You know how much I love Vinder, and I know that once you get the stress on Vinder, it becomes a lot easier to predict where the arcs can be, because if you want to do the turn, you've got to do a 2-bank and then 2-turn slam. And so once we got to the mid game, he became less scary because he was kind of like out of the fight a little bit. So it just came literally cat and mouse game. And I told him, like, before we even had shots, the first half of the game, I told him, look, even if I lose this game, I've had a really good game. You've made me really think and pushed me. And it came down to the dice. Seriously, the dice one kept Zizi alive, and if Zizi had died in that capture, it would have been a bit of a different game. I would have had to been a little bit more aggressive and take more risks. But because Zizi survived there and like got off literally scot free, I was just like, well, that was a danger turn. I got past that, and then follow up him the dial swap basically meant Strinty got caught. I actually thought he was going to roll out of it and get, because you know how Strinty is. Sometimes they just roll nothing but evades, and you get like 1 damage. And I thought, oh, he's going to roll out of it. But I got the kill, and I'm like, wow, okay. And that was really big for my opponent. I felt bad. But in the same side is like when Darth Vader wasn't bumped, I'm like, oh well, it almost worked out for you. We actually thought he had the bullseye, so it was like, okay, it's going to work because you can get the bullseye, but it was just out. So that's what won the game. The dice early game dice, and that mistake.
Well, I think positioning made a big for both of you. I think both of you had really great positioning throughout most of the game, and that cat and mouse was the best way to put it, because it really did feel like that. And the role of the cat and the role of the mouse had changed a couple of times depending on the positioning. So as an audience member, it was a really fantastic game. So I thank both of you for putting yourselves out there on the stream, because it was a really great game to watch, and I'm really glad we could have it here on the Sydney City Space Slugs.
Correct, and to your credit, András, I think it was a difficult matchup for you, given the fact that you are relying on an I4 or I6s to kind of catch Poe, especially in Overdrive Thrusters Poe with second player. So you did a really good job at shepherding him, unfortunately, when you did get some shots, it just didn't pay off. But when you did spring that trap on ZZ, or predicted ZZ's turn, both of you guys played a very exciting and beautiful game. So credit to both of you, and thank you so much for coming on. It was very cracking to watch.
Thank you.
Thank you, folks. It was a nice playing. So
I
like the game. I'm not happy that I lost the way, but it was still a very nice game.
It was a great game, man. It was really enjoyable. As I said, I said at the halfway point, and I went all the way to the end. I was at some point. It was like I couldn't get you to overcommit. It was just that mind game. There was a lot of mind games in there. It really was. It was great.
All right. Well, now is the time for the two of you to go and rest your brains. We'll try and get an update on where the other two games are at. But we'll leave the two of you to go and hit the showers and take a rest.
Final score.
Thanks, folks. Have a nice evening.
Yeah, thanks so much, András.
Thank you.
Bye.
Thanks so much. So I've got one update from Michael O'Connor. He says it's his last turn and he's up by 2 points. So hopefully he holds.
Are they streaming their game somewhere?
No one is streaming their game, unfortunately. I don't believe Actor
is streaming either.
Streaming, and it looks like Michael O'Connor might have just gone down 156 to 176, unfortunately.
Ouch. Okay.
So it looks like 1 Australia, 3 Hungary. So we'll have to see how Actor goes in his game. I just want to say one final little thank you to Bandy for telling us how to say Space Slug in Hungarian. I'm going to try one more time. Irksiga. I hope I did justice to it. Thank you so much for having me on stream, Cameron.
No, thank you. You're a slug. You're allowed to be on stream whenever you want. Thank you to everyone for coming out. I love that we get to stream these XTC games and then we get to chat with players from all around the world. It's very, very exciting. Probably my favorite thing about XTC so far. So thanks everyone for coming out to watch the match. We're going to sign off here, but I should mention that if I can do my quick maths correctly, how many hours, and we're going to start streaming again in about 14 hours, 13 and a half hours, we will continue streaming again. We're going to have 4 matches in a row. A few of the local guys here in Australia are going to get together and just due to a tournament that was cancelled due to the whole pandemic thing going on. We decided to do some nice TTS streaming. So we're going to be here streaming again at 10 a.m. Australian Eastern Standard Time. We're going to have 4 matches in a row for you lovely people. So please tune in. The casual games, but we'll be still keeping our competitive analysis happening, and we're going to be switching out commentators throughout the day, and swapping out players as well. So thank you for joining us today. Thank you, Tom, for joining me in the commentary. We will be uploading this match, the replay of this match and a match we had last night, onto YouTube. So please go and follow our YouTube page. Same name, Sydney City Space Slugs on YouTube, if you'd like to watch any of the replays.
Absolutely, and thanks again, and thank you to Nobbie and András for tuning, for coming and letting us stream.
Yes, and a big shout out to the Gundarks as well. Nobbie.
Absolutely, go check out the Fearless Gundarks on Twitch.
Fearless Gundarks, that's right. Yeah,
we actually will be streaming in 2.5 hours.
Okay.
2.5 hours. We're going to be doing a Philippines, I think, match.
Oh, how exciting! All right, cool. Well, you better go get set up for that, and everyone should go and follow the Fearless Gundarks and tune in for that exciting match.
Hopefully, I'll be just not too tipsy after my last two. I'm going to be completely out.
And just a quick update, guys. Unfortunately, Hungary has won the round. Actor lost by 1 point.
Wow!
So it's a 1 to Hungary. 1 to Australia, 4 to Hungary. So.
Takes a bit of the pressure off you there, Tom. You can relax now.
Yeah, exactly. All right. Well, thanks so much again, guys, and all the best, and we'll see you next time. And don't forget to tune into Sydney City Space Slugs tomorrow for our extravaganza.
Yep. Alrighty. Thanks, everyone. Goodbye.